GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we keep you informed faster than your brain can switch from holiday sleep-ins to 6 a.m. alarms. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we are joined by Teng Yan. Now, Teng has an incredible background. He founded a healthcare AI company previously. Then he got crypto pilled and decided blockchain was where he needed to spend his life because he knew it was going to transform the entire world and every industry. He joined DeFi Digital, where he led research and consulting for their consumer arm. And then most recently, he decided that he needed to go full-time crypto and AI coming together with his two backgrounds. And he founded a leading crypto AI research firm, which is called Chain of Thought. Now, today, we're going to talk all about, you guessed it, crypto and AI. We're going to talk about how should you as an investor be thinking about crypto AI? What are the models? What are the categories? What are the frameworks you should be using in order to allocate your portfolio to take advantage of likely the biggest narrative in 2025? We're also going to talk about what are Teng's highest conviction trades right now. Where does he see opportunity to allocate capital? And then finally, Teng is deep in the weeds working with a lot of startups in the crypto AI space. So we're going to end with what's being built that he's most excited about that is coming out and not quite out yet, but that it will be coming out in the future. Quick question before we jump in. Are you subscribed to the Milk Road newsletter? If you're not, stop taking crazy pills. Get subscribed today. If you are subscribed, I'm talking to you because we just brought back the Milk Road referral program where if you refer your friends to the Milk Road newsletter, you get free stuff. And to celebrate, to kick it all off, we're giving away a massive prize this week only. Whoever refers the most people between now and Sunday, that's this Sunday, only a few days away. You probably only have to refer like 5 people to win this prize, honestly. You will win 1 year Milk Road Pro subscription and our Investing Masterclass. That's a combined value of over $700 that we're going to give away for free. All you have to do is open the newsletter any day between now and Sunday, and you'll see, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see a referral link. Copy that link, send it to your friends, and get them to subscribe. And bada boom, bada bing, more people come into crypto, and we are all going to win in 2025. Let's go, baby. Meet Odos, the DeFi aggregator that makes your token swap smarter, faster, and a whole lot easier. Tired of trading like it's 2019? Odos finds the best prices for your swaps across 900 liquidity sources and 14 blockchains, so you always get more bang for your crypto buck. Whether you're swapping, setting a limit order, or just avoiding gas fees like the plague, Odos has you covered. It's like having a genius trader in your pocket, minus the coffee addiction. Join 3 million wallets already using Odos to power over 6 billion in monthly trades. Start making smarter swaps today at milkroad.com/Odos. Teng, welcome to the Milk Road Show.
Hey Jay, great to, thanks for having me here. Pretty excited, first time. So always been a fan of the Milk Road. Been reading newsletter for quite a while now. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting year. So excited to get things going.
Yeah, you certainly have been putting out a lot of very bullish content for the crypto AI space. I remember seeing one of your tweets recently that said that you believe it's a $200 billion opportunity, that the market cap of crypto AI could grow that big. Now, difficult to understand exactly what the market cap of crypto AI is right now because it's so vast and it's growing so fast and there's so many tokens and so many categories. So let's just start with, if I'm an investor and I'm trying to understand crypto AI, how should I be thinking about crypto AI? What's the model that you like to use or the categories that you like to use to think it through and break it down?
Yeah, I think the best way is to start thinking about it on what I would call like almost like a macro perspective, right? If we think about like what crypto AI actually is, it's crypto and it's AI, right? We're just meshing like these two things together. And the reason why we do this and why we use crypto AI as a term is that we all know that there's going to be something really big that comes out of this, but nobody knows exactly what it is going to be. And so I think it's just very exciting because like these are like really the two biggest like secular trends in technology that I've ever seen like in my lifetime. I think AI is probably going to be the biggest one for sure if I look back in like say 10 or 20 years down the road. And so what this means is that when you have these two very big technology trends, when they come together, that particular intersection between them creates like very interesting opportunities, because these are the areas that people are not particularly looking out very closely at. So if you look at the typical Web2 investment funds, they're investing very heavily into AI startups. And then you look at like crypto positive companies, I think very much of a lot of the focus has been on layer one, layer twos, DeFi, all of that. And what this means is that there are not many people who truly understand what's actually going on in this like crypto and AI combination. And I think that's why just taking some time to understand this a bit more puts you at a very significant edge compared to many other people that's out there. If we think about crypto AI, there are a couple of like different, I would say, like subsectors or themes that I sort of like use to sort of like mentally like classify what's going on in the space. AI is pretty general. It's a general purpose technology, which means it can be used in like many different sort of like use cases. But if we think back to first principles and fundamentally how AI is sort of like developed and built, we start with like compute and data, right? These are the two things that feed into AI models and is what is required to create some of these largest like foundational models like GPT-4, Claude, Gemini from Google. And we really need compute and data. And so these are two like very big like subsectors where decentralization and blockchain actually plays an important part in terms of like giving users like ownership, giving users a cut of the revenue, giving users like rewards for contributing to these sort of like networks. So I think these are two very big thematic areas that I'm watching. The one sector that for sure has really taken off in a very strong way over the last couple of months is really around AI agents. I think AI agents are very interesting, and part of the reason why I think they've really gotten the level of interest they've gotten is because they're doing something that almost feels like magic, right? It's something that we never thought that these things would ever be able to do in terms of like having an actual real conversation with us on these social media platforms that makes them not sound like a bot, but actually sound like very human-like. Being able to digest like huge amounts of information and being able to be like chronically online, right? Like many, I won't say most people, but they are there like 24/7. They can post content and all of that. And I think that unlocks something in people's minds in terms of like understanding, hey, this is a very new technology primitive, and I really need to start to understand this a little bit more. So I think the sector within like crypto AI that has really gotten these legs is really around the agents. AI
And
agents
and
are
and the AI
yeah,
agents that you're speaking about, we're talking about Luna, which is an AI agent influencer that came out of the virtuals ecosystem, or you're talking about AI XBT, also came out of virtuals, which is a Twitter influencer. And like you said, AI agents, they don't need to sleep. They don't take a break. They don't need to eat, right? They are 24/7, very focused, and they are gaining a lot of attention because they're fascinating to us as humans. Right now, that's just the start. So we have compute. I like the way you're breaking this down, and I want to keep breaking them down before we go into each of them. So we have compute networks, we have data networks, which are really foundational parts of AI. And what you're saying is they need decentralization, which is why blockchain and crypto is going to be involved. And there is opportunities to invest in those areas, because I think and I think most of our listeners, when they think about like compute and data networks within AI, they think like ChatGPT and OpenAI, and they're like, I can't go invest in that, right? But what you're saying is there is opportunity. Okay, then we have AI agents, and within AI agents, we have the agents themselves, and then we have the platforms that are like the virtuals or the AI 16Z. Any other categories or ways that you break down the crypto AI space?
I think one other very big category is really around verification. And so it's a very heavy infrastructure type of play. These are networks that use things like zero knowledge proofs, crypto economic incentives to really make sure that everything that we do in AI is actually verified, right? For example, let's say if I were to provide an input to an AI model and I ask it to use, and I'm asked like say OpenAI to use a GPT-4 model. How do I know that it's actually using a GPT-4 model and not say a GPT-3 model, which is actually much cheaper for them to run, right? There's no way to know as a consumer. But with these like verification networks, we're able to actually understand actually what goes in the AI and have a greater degree of confidence in terms of what the outputs are, which becomes very important as we start to use AI in dealing with very personal things like our health, dealing with our finances. I think this is actually where crypto and blockchain actually, I would say, plays an almost crucial and indispensable part of it, because there's no other way you can actually conduct this kind of trustless verification outside of blockchain or crypto network. But these are also like very heavy like infrastructure type of like projects that take like many years to sort of like really come to fruition. And among like all these different categories that I've defined so far, the compute, the data layers, and the verification networks, these are very technically heavy sort of like implementations. And I think like one of the reasons why, I mean, going back to the AI agents, one of the reasons why the AI agents have sort of really captured the greatest mind share among all of these things is because agents are very consumer centric. These are things that people can understand. These are things that you and me can actually play around with. Whereas these like very infrastructure heavy projects are very much focused on developers like within the space, which becomes a much different sort of like community and network of people.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, there's a reason that a lot of investors are, there's a reason that meme coins made it so big, right? Because meme coins are super simple and very easy to understand, and they're fun, right? And fun grabs attention. Whereas there's a reason that, the infrastructure layer of crypto has not gotten as much attention as excitement as some meme coins have. And it's because it just, our brain doesn't want to take the time to figure it out. So, okay, of these four categories, which ones are you invested in all four of these categories? Which ones are you most invested in, or are you most focused on, or do you have the most conviction for?
I mean, in my mind, I kind of like think, okay, firstly, I would just say that all of these sectors, right, are going to be very big in time, right? If you just think about like what the total addressable market for AI is, like it's going to be huge, it's going to be almost infinity, right? How do you put a value to super intelligence? And if crypto AI is just able to capture a small part of that total addressable market of AI, like say 5 or 10% of that, that is in itself is a very big market. And within each of these, within the crypto AI market, all these different sectors, they will also be very big, like individual or verticalized sort of markets on their own. What differentiates them is a bit of, I would say, is timing, right? So some of these like sectors and technologies will probably take a couple of years to reach their true potential in terms of these products being sort of production ready to scale. And some of these sectors will probably be able to sort of like reach real like use cases in a much quicker way. So the ones that I spend more of my time on are what I think are going to be things that will probably reach production use cases more quickly, because I think it is probably the best use of my time to be spending my time looking at these sectors. So I think the two things which I think are particularly interesting for sure, one is AI agents, and I think both in terms of seeing the different platform plays that are there, as well as the applications within the AI agent space. I think that for sure is going to continue to evolve, and we can definitely talk about that in a later place. The other one that I'm spending a lot of my time on in 2025 is around the compute networks. So these would be like the GPU aggregators. We've seen a couple of them already, like in over the past year. I think the appetite for compute is going to be insatiable. Like if you just look at what the trend is on AI in terms of us needing to train like larger and larger models, and many more like AI applications coming into play that will require a lot of computational power, I think it is very natural for these like compute networks to be viewed as the next, almost like the next like layer one sort of like networks. The ones that I think are probably the most interesting will be the ones that actually haven't launched a token yet. These will probably be launching a token in the next, probably sometime in the next couple of months, because they have been very focused on building a product and making sure their product works before going out to market. So, for example, like Spearon is one.
Before you jump in there, I just want to pause for a sec, Tang, to say a few things, because I think this aligns very well with everybody listening to our show or watching our show. You guys know we are so bought in to macro and liquidity cycles. And the macro regime right now is very positive. And so we're all excited about 2025. So I'm really glad we're framing this conversation of crypto AI around 2025 is what I'm hearing, right? This isn't, we're gonna put aside maybe these the category of verification and maybe the category of data networks, because maybe, hey, those are, maybe they need more time and they're not going to come in 2025. They're not going to get the attention in 2025. And so, in the end, we're an investor show. Love that those are being built, but that's not there yet. So we're going to focus on AI agents and compute. And I just want everyone to understand compute quickly, because compute is so important. The way I think about compute is, imagine that all this AI that is being built needs to, imagine it's a human, and in order to get better at its life, it needs to go to the gym and it needs to exercise, basically, right? That's what AIs needs. AIs need to go to the gym and they need to exercise. And so we are exponentially getting more AIs right now. It would be as if we were like adding billions of humans to the earth every month, is what is happening with AI right now. So what we need to do, we need to build a fuck ton more gyms right now. That's what compute is, basically, to me. It's like we need so many more gyms for these AIs to go work out in. And that's why you're saying there's this huge opportunity for compute right now, because we don't have enough of it. Funny enough, unlike block space and L1s and L2s, we actually have a lot of block space right now. We actually have too much block space right now that's not being used, whereas it's not quite the same in AI. We need more of this compute. So I hope that helps everybody understand that the scale of the opportunity here on the compute network side.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great analogy. I mean, compute is basically like just I think the main unlock, like especially in crypto AI around compute, is that, let's say if I have gaming laptop at home, right, which I used to play like League of Legends or so, I can actually get that laptop and actually contribute to a network and actually earn rewards for actually contributing to a network. And imagine like if 1 million people connect their home computers to a network and we are able to use that to train some of the most powerful AI models in the future, and everybody gets partial ownership to that AI model that is being trained on these networks. I think that's a very powerful idea.
Sounds amazing. Okay, let's talk about some specific projects within compute first, and then we'll talk about AI agents second. Which projects are you following closely? Do you like in compute?
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be an interesting race within the compute networks. Like there are already a couple of them. They're already live, like IONET, Aether, Akash. Which are continuing to building. Each of them have their different strengths. Like for example, Aether is very good on their business development side of things, I hear, and they're able to work out a lot of like enterprise sort of like focus deals.
Aether. That's AETHIR is how you spell Aether, right? Some of these are. We got to get some branding teams to some of these guys. They're coming up with names that are too difficult to say. Okay, so that's Aether. You like Aether for, and do all these Aether, IONET, Spheron? I can never say that one.
Yeah, Spheron is actually one of the newer ones that I think is going to be launched. They already have a network that's live, but they're probably going to be launching a mainnet I'm not sure, probably sometime in the next couple of weeks or so. I have spoken with them a couple of times. I feel like they have very good intentions. They're very smart people. They have sort of like designed their network in a way that is able to scale very well and works pretty well. So I think that's definitely something to watch out for. They don't have a live token right now, but I think if you're interested, you can participate in their testnet. I think they're looking for people to provide compute, and you can earn points for that. But I think that's one that I'm definitely paying attention to in the coming months.
Do IONET and Aether have tokens?
Yeah, so IONET and Aether, they launched their token sometime in the middle of last year, I think. It's pretty wild because I think they are probably I haven't checked yet, but they're probably at like more than $1 billion in terms of like fully diluted valuations. Pretty high valuations, I would say.
From a trade perspective, do you like IONET or Aether right now? Do you think that those are good? Do you have conviction in those buys for an investor?
What I would say is that I think if you're trying to index a sector, you probably want to find the ones that are that have a good amount of liquidity. I think these are projects and teams that are building something that's legitimate in the space. I would say that given their current valuations, I wouldn't say that it's the most compelling opportunity that's out there. But if you sort of are able to be convicted on the thesis that compute is just going to continue to grow and you believe in their teams. There are a lot of nuances which I think is probably might be a little bit too like deep to get into this on this show directly. What I would say is that I think it's worth like spending some time to look into these different projects, figure out which are the ones that you feel a certain affinity to in terms of their sort of like business and product strategies, because each of them have a very different sort of like flavor to that. And then from that sort of like figure out what you think you want to allocate capital to. But I think as a category, I think compute networks are going to continue to grow and going to be a much bigger part of the whole like crypto sector, like say in a year's time.
Is there a way to invest in the sector? Like, is there an index? Like, what would be great here is if you didn't have to go and look for all the projects, and you could just say, "Hey, I believe in compute, and I'm going to buy this index." Does that exist?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen any, and I think it becomes very tricky to create an index of this because crypto AI is such a nascent and dynamic sector. And like what we think are the winners today, like in 6 months' time, it may be a very different set of people and folks and teams that are actually the leaders within this, just because everyone's still very much at the starting line and things evolve very quickly and very fluidly within the space. You just take, for example, in say an adjacent sector, right? We have like virtuals and AI16Z as the most prominent AI agent platforms, which I'm sure many of you have probably heard about. But are they going to be still the most prominent like AI agent platforms in say 6 months' time? That's where I don't have very strong conviction on. And I think it's very possible that a new player could come out, a smart team, and really sort of like grab a lot of their attention and mind share away from them.
Yeah, that's the tough thing to know because with virtuals and AI16Z, they've done so incredibly well over the past 2 months. But I think you mentioned time before, and time is as an investor, it's really important to think about time. And one of the things that I like to consider is, okay, when do we think the AI agent meta really started? October? Like, would October be? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's where probably Truth Terminal and Code really got people's
Right.
attention.
Okay, so let's say it started in October. How long do we expect if we look at past stats, how long does a meta typically go for within and get the mind share? And obviously, it's difficult to predict, but I think you can say somewhere between at least 3 months and up to if you look at NFTs, for example, NFTs were more like 12 to 18 months, right? So we're somewhere in the range of like I think 3 to 12 months. If if it started in October, we're into our second month. We're almost at 3 months at the end of January. That gives time. So the question I always have right now is, does that mean that virtuals and AI16Z are still good buys because it's so early, or and they can get to 10 billion market cap perhaps, or as you said, is it that they were just early and maybe they're not the best? That's the hard thing to know. The reason I like AI16Z and virtuals is virtuals has base, and base is clearly where a lot of this activity is happening, and the base team is really supporting virtuals. So I like that. And then AI16Z has Solana, and Solana also has, I mean, I could see others doing well on Solana. I'm not sure. I wonder if I just feel like virtuals owns base, and that feels difficult to overcome. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if you frame it that way, it kind of makes sense because I think virtuals is probably anchoring itself on base, and base has built up a very good reputation of like very legit intentional builders, right? So they are a lot less degen, they are a lot more focused on like consumer products, as compared to Solana. Solana is where I would say a lot of like degen energy is a lot of like where people are experimenting in areas which are much more like financially trading focused. And that's I guess where it is. I think there's definitely going to be a crossover because like these two platforms can definitely be used on other networks as well besides their sort of like home bases around there. So I think some of these things are pretty much like not set in stone. How I think about like these trends, right? Let's say, for example, AI agent is a trend. One is that I think is going to be different from, and, this is going to be a dangerous thing to say, but I think it's going to be different from some of the other sort of like narratives and matters we've kind of like seen in the past, like for example with NFTs and maybe
Meme
even like meme
coins.
coins also, because there is a real technology trend that's underlying all of this. Like for example, with NFTs, we had a lot of like trading, but at the end of the day, after a while, people realized there wasn't really a lot of progress was being made, right? Just because there are a lot of like incumbents in the entertainment industry, gaming industry that makes it very difficult for you to disrupt such a entrenched mature industry. Whereas within AI, like every single week, right, we are seeing something new, a new capability of these AI models. And every time there's a new capability or a new model that's launched by some of these like big AI research labs, the crypto folks are going to experiment. They're going to try and build something cool out of this. They're going to launch a token that's tied to this. And so I think what we'll see is that we're going to have like these mini cycles like within a broader uptrend, right? So things I feel like they will generally go up. The best platforms will continue to accrue value. It could be virtuals, it could be AI 16Z, they'll continue to do well, but it's going to be volatile, right? They're going to be downtrends. And then when the next like wave of interest comes because say a certain new technology launches again, then we're going to see another uptrend as everyone buys into the whole narrative again. So I think that's probably how I see things going to play out for the next year or so, which makes it very interesting because it means there are a lot of opportunities for anyone who sort of like pays attention and does sort of their homework in terms of like looking at what are the teams and projects that are sort of like continually building like within the space.
Yeah, that's why we had to get you on the show today, Tang, and why we hope we'll get you on the show again at some point. So, other than virtuals and AI 16Z, just to wrap up on AI agent platforms, is there any other platforms that you are paying attention to?
There is one which I think is pretty interesting. It's something that I think like not many people have been talking about yet. But they're probably going to see a bit more upon. And when I spoke with the team, I was actually pretty excited about what they have sort of like built. It's a platform that's called Moemates, Moemates. So basically, what it is they actually have been building a consumer platform and they've gotten quite a bit of traction in the Web2 space. So they have like hundreds of thousands of users who are actually using the platform to create like very much role play kind of like AI agents, a bit similar to character AI. Some of these agents have like multimodal capabilities. They're able to see what you are doing on the screen and give you actually almost like real time like advice in terms of what you're actually trying to do. Yeah, so that's the one. So I think it's
I've pulled
pretty
it up on
interesting.
screen here for everybody watching on video. Momate. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so I was pretty excited because they have been building a product for a while. It's not something that just that they were just
Mm.
building over the last couple of months when AI agents became hot. And so they've gotten quite a number of like people using a platform creating these agents. They're actually starting to go deep into Web3. They are launching their Web3 focused like agent tokenization platform. I think next week,
Huh.
and that's going to be interesting.
So right
Um,
now there is no crypto. This is just Web 2.
So they actually have one token. They actually created an AI agent that's called Nebula, and that agent actually has a token. I think it's probably around like 20 or 30 million in terms of like
No, it's
market cap right
small.
now. Yeah, it's a Solana token that's there. It's tied to this AI agent influencer. So you can think of it as almost like the Luna equivalent for the Momi ecosystem. But the main token is probably going to be the platform token that hasn't launched yet.
Hmm. And what do you think the timing is on that?
If I'm not wrong, it's going to be launching next week, actually.
Okay. And are they going to launch with a farming? Is it going to be like open to users or is this going to just be ICO? What's the launch? Do you know?
There is going to be a launch pool. I think it's on one of the Solana launch pads
Mm.
called Box. So I think yeah, people can participate. I think people who own the agent token actually can get whitelisted to have an to participate in the sale a little bit earlier than the general public. But there is a public token sale that's happening, if I'm not wrong.
Very interesting. And yeah, it's interesting. What you're identifying that I really like too is it's so hard to know when a new project comes out, especially in crypto, it's so hard to know how long they've been building it for, right? And what is so attractive within the combination of AI and crypto is a lot of these AI builders and founders have been building for years. And now they're just integrating crypto or integrating blockchain. And that's a great example. It looks like Momade is a massive platform that is used by hundreds of thousands of users already. And so that positions them very well into using crypto and involving their tokens. So exciting there. What about if we go to AI agents? What are your thoughts on investing in AI agents?
AI agents becomes a bit. It's yeah. I've thought about this for a while. Like it's tricky. The thing is that it's hard to find a real like value accrual mechanism that works for these agents right now. Most of these agent tokens are essentially like meme coins, and the pure is trading purely on intention. People think that the agent is cool, and that's why they buy a bit of this token, and that's why the token price goes up, and they start shilling to other people, and that's why the token price goes up even more. But what does the token actually do? I think we haven't really figured out like what these mechanisms are. So to me, I've always been a little bit cautious because like agents are fleeting, right? Like for one, for this month, maybe like Luna was really hot, and next month it might then be the next new agent that someone has just created that becomes the hot flavor of the month. Platforms becomes more like a pick and shovels kind of play where you know that as long as people are building, developers are using the platform, you always be able to sort of like capture value potentially of the best agent that comes out of this and all of the agents that are being launched on their platform. So like within the agents themselves, I think you want to see it as more of trading on attention. So if you think like a particular agent is super cool and you think other people like you are also going to find it very interesting and cool, then maybe it's something you definitely want to look a little bit more into and consider like how is this agent going to evolve, how is it going to generate even more attention, is it going to be posting short form videos on like TikTok and all these different platforms, is it funny, is it humorous, like I think all of these different things are there, but it's really kind of hard. I found I've been struggling myself to like figure out like which are the agents that will really take off. It's all about a narrative and story that the developers have crafted around them.
It's certainly much more gambling on the AI agent side. It's, you treat it more like meme coins. It should not be a large allocation in your portfolio. It should be small, and you should be prepared to lose it all. I mean, you should be prepared to lose it all with any investment you make, but definitely on that side. The other thing to me that's really interesting with AI agents is how many AI agents do we have right now? Do you have a guess?
Oh gosh, like I think like judging by the number of like bots that sort of like reply every time I tweet out on X, I feel like it's in the thousands of them like right now.
Right, which like only thousands. Like that's actually quite small. That's not so how many meme coins launched on Pumped Up Fun last year, right? What, like 4 million or something like that?
Mm.
So how many AI agents are we going to have a year from now? We're going to have millions, I would assume. I don't know what your thought is, but that says to me that just the numbers, how hard is it to pick a winner when there's going to be millions and there's thousands? Whereas how many platforms are we going to have a year from now? I don't know, maybe 50, 100, 200, I don't know, but we're not going to have millions of platforms, that's for sure. So you're picking from a smaller pool, usually easier to pick a winner.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I feel like it's also a personality kind of thing. Like I know there are the people who are more like who think of themselves as the more intellectual kind. They can't get themselves to buy agents. They feel like they need to find some reason to like buy a token, and the platforms really appeal to them. But the people who are a lot more left curve and can kind of like understand like human psychology, I think these people actually can find very good opportunities in sort of like picking the kind of agents that they think will actually sort of like really be able to like grab people's like attention and mind share. So I think like very different games, but yeah, it's very interesting to see like what's been going on.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, it's why you said yourself that you can't find the value accrual in an AI agent. And when you can't find value accrual, when you can't find fundamentals, it's hard for you to invest, because that's how your investing strategy works. And this is why it's so important as an investor to know yourself and know your investing strategy, because don't do what we tell you to do. You got to think about you got to think about your own goals, your own plan, and where you want to spend your time. Because the key is, you can't just listen to this episode and go buy IONET. You need to go do some research. You need to go learn about it and then make your own decision. And so that's the part where, are you interested in IONET? Are you interested in compute? And if you're not, then don't force yourself. You don't have to invest in everything. That's the worst investment strategy you can have. Pick a few, learn about them, go deep into them, understand them, and stay on top of them. Because as you said, Teng, the biggest thing here is the opportunity. Can you like put on a scale? So you said at the beginning that AI will be, I don't know how big you think AI will be in terms of its a potential, whether it be from a market cap perspective or whether it be from a GDP and revenue perspective. But you think that if crypto can just get 5 to 10% of that, then the opportunity for crypto AI alone is huge. Can you put that into any numbers for us, or help us understand how big this opportunity is?
Yeah. So I think like I was actually just looking at this like just a couple of days ago. I think like today the crypto AI sector is probably about like 50 billion in terms of like total market cap of all the tokens that are already out there. I think it's definitely heading for like at least 100 billion this year in 2025, potentially, like depending on how well the rest of the market does, maybe even 200 billion. It's at about like 3% of the total like altcoin market cap, which means that it's still relatively small, right? I think meme coins are like about 10%, like DeFi is about like 12%. I feel like it's going to get closer to that, right? So there is still a very big differential in terms of like crypto AI compared to some of the larger like larger AI subsectors that are out, larger crypto subsectors that are out there like DeFi. And I think that gap is going to narrow quite significantly over this year, as many more like teams and tokens, the teams that have been building over the last like couple of years actually start to go to market, launch their token. And many of these are, they have been building like very good products and very important products for quite some time now. So I'm definitely paying attention. Just one thing to what you said like before, I think within the AI sector, crypto AI sector, there are going to be like many, many opportunities. Like it's just going to be full of them. So the most important thing I think is you just don't feel FOMO like you need to capture every single play. I think some of the biggest opportunities for 2025 are going to be tokens that haven't launched yet, right? Nobody has bought any of these things, but if you're paying attention, you get into them early. I think you have a very good risk reward and opportunities to do well in this.
Yeah, well said. Very well said, Teng. Teng, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate your time. Everybody, make sure you follow Teng on Twitter and check out Chain of Thought. They're putting out great content to keep you guys up to date on the crypto AI space. Teng, we'll hopefully get you back on the show at some point. Thanks for joining us today.
No, thanks so much, Jay. Like, really enjoyed this. Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting year. Wishing everyone all the best.
Awesome. Thanks for listening in, everybody. Have a wicked awesome day. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your number one resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.